Okay, finance. Sometimes referred to as finance. We're going to start with the June 7th. We've had 2 meetings. Are you ready to do that? Board Member Belknap chairs the Finance Committee, so we'll turn the time over to Chair Belknap.
Thank you. June 7th, I'm going 12.2, 12.3, and then on to 12.4. I just wanted to thank the State Charter School Board for presenting that day, but also for all those who present in section review. So now on to 12.5. It's the Charter School Revolving Loan Application Review. And the action by the board was Board Member Newell moved, and the committee voted unanimously to approve all 4 charter school revolving loans with the contingency for Wasatch Waldorf. However, they have received their grant, and so without objection, I would
Why don't you state the motion and then change it?
Okay, motion for the board that the committee moves that the board approve charter school revolving loan, Bridge Academy, I won't state all the numbers unless you want me to, Mountain, Sunrise, Da Vinci Academy, and Waldorf, if they receive their grant. Otherwise, they would receive a different amount of money, but that's the motion.
Okay, the motion before the board is that the board approve the charter school revolving loans for Bridge Academy, $300,000, Mountain Sunrise, $300,000, Da Vinci Academy, $130,000, Wasatch Waldorf, $99,039 if they receive the grant from Rocky Mountain Power. If the grant is not approved, the loan request will be reduced by $36,059. You have a proposed change to that
I would just say, without objection, they received that, and we do the $99,039.
Okay. So the motion before the board, if I don't see any objection, the motion for the board is that the board approve and it's really important to follow these recommendations that come out of committee, or we get very unorganized. So we do our housekeeping here. So the motion before the board is that the board approve charter school revolving loan for Bridge Academy, $300,000, Mountain Sunrise, $300,000, Da Vinci Academy, $130,000, Wasatch Waldorf, $99,039 is the motion. Any discussion to the motion? I have that right, Chair? Okay. Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Voting is unanimous. Please continue.
Okay, we're on to 12.9. We referred this to consent, so we already approved that today. 12.10 was also referred to consent. 12.11 is our 277-927 Teacher and Student Success Account. The staff presented the rule to various groups. UASBO had questions related to the LEA doing the allocation on prior year ADM for individuals, including what happens when there are boundary changes between prior year and current year. There are various situations that may have a significant increase in growth of students and funding based on the prior year ADM, and it doesn't always represent the current population for those schools. This could result in an over or an under allocation of the TSSA funds. The amendments in R 277-927 Draft 6 allow LEAs to adjust their respective school level ADM and allocations due to specific situations described in the language. The committee heard public comment, and then the committee action was Board Member Newell moved, and the committee voted unanimously to approve R 277-927 Draft 6 on first reading. The motion for the board is that the committee moves that the board approve R 277-927 Draft 6 on second and final reading.
Okay, the motion before the board is that the board approve R 277-927 Draft 6 on second and final reading. Discussion to that motion. Board Member Lear.
I have a question.
Okay.
On lines 134 through 140, it says, I think what you just read, Laura, after calculating LEA school level allocations, due to changes in current year student enrollment for reasons including, are those the only reasons, or are those just, was that an illustrative list?
Okay. Angie, do you want to pop up here?
I don't know, Carol. Where's Scott? Oh, it was Angie.
The draft 6, R2779, draft 6.
We're on draft 6.
It's 11, hold on.
It's from the July meeting, right?
Yes.
June.
June.
meeting.
Page 5.
He's trying to find the item. Does anybody have the item?
Will you pull the mic? Oh, okay.
407, right?
Nope.
927.
Number 9?
It is number.
11. It's number 11.
Yes, thank you.
There it is.
All right. Because it says including Board Member Lear, it is not exhaustive currently. But
Great.
those were the ideas
Great.
of why. we
I
would-
was hoping that would be
Yeah.
your answer, so
Yes.
I'm great, and you'll be pleased to know I have no amendments.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions or comments speaking to the proposed motion. I'll restate. Oh, Board Member Earl?
Yeah, I just have two quick comments. I don't have any amendments or anything, just the concern, once again, with this particular, I know we're following the law, but the idea that we're putting such an emphasis, once again, back onto our accountability system instead of looking at the whole child kind of a thing, and that, anyways, just concern, especially with the things that we have going on in schools. The other thing is I also have concerns, I'm just voicing those, that we are, in order to get some of the funding or use it in the way you want to, you have to make certain tax levy increases. I just feel like that's ethically a concerning issue to start bordering in. I realize it's law. I realize that it passed this legislative session. I just have concerns over the direction that we'll be leading education this way.
Okay. Okay, the motion before the board is that the board approve R277-927 Draft 6 on second and final reading. Not seeing any discussion, further discussion. Let's vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, with the ayes, raise your hand to be recognized. Board Member Gravitt, Board Member Lear, Board Member Linda Hansen, Board Member Haynes, Board Member Davis, Board Member Newell, Board Member Belknap, Board Member Scott Hansen, Board Member Marsh, Board Member Cannon, Vice Chair Brittany Cummins. Those opposed? Oh, and me. Those opposed? Board Member Earl and Board Member Bolter. Okay, motion passes. That concludes your June 7th meeting, correct?
I was going to do 12-12.
What's that? Oh, 12-12.
Yep. On 12-12, the committee had no discussion on this, but I would like to make an emotion on this. I would like to make a motion on this topic.
Okay,
I move that the board approve the setting aside of $415,689.28 from the State Charter School Board budget in order to meet the required amounts due to the federal and state government, and that the board approve the payment of both debts on August 31st, 2019, unless the State Charter School Board and/or the USBE staff provide appropriate and allowable funds to meet the obligations by that date.
okay, is there a second? Second. Discussion to that motion?
I want to speak, I'd like to speak to it.
Okay, do you want to speak to the motion, please?
I do.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, in the interest of the taxpayers, $170,438.01 is the amount owed to the federal government. $245,251.27 is the amount owed to the state. $107,000 was received from AISU recently. This amount of money is restricted and cannot get used towards the repayment of the federal amount owed if it's to the federal funds. USBE AAGs will render an opinion on whether or not the $107,100 can get applied to the state amount owed of $245,251.27. We also have buses and vans in the possession of USBE at this time, And there is also additional property, laptops, kitchen equipment, et cetera, that is not in our possession at this time.
Okay. Anyone want to speak to the motion? Is it up? Yeah. Yep, okay, good. Vice Chair Brittany Cummins.
So just some clarification with that second portion that was mentioned. So if the $107,000 that was withheld can be used, I'm guessing that would be deducted from the portion that is possibly owed. That's included in this come up with portion, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then anything that's outside of that come up with portion from the liquidation of assets, et cetera, would come out of which portion of the State Charter School Board's budget? Has that been defined?
That would be unrestricted money, so it can be used for other.
Deputy Superintendent.
He's saying it'll have to come from unrestricted monies.
Deputy Superintendent of Operations Scott Jones. So the liquidation of the buses and the vans, that money could be used for either or. So, but we don't know how much yet. It'll go, the vans and buses will be posted on the state surplus website or site so that other LEAs can bid on them, or so that remains to be seen. But to your question, or to Vice Chair Cummins' question, Chair, that money could be used for either the payment to the federal government or to the state. So it would not, encumber or obligate the funds out of the budget. So is that the question you're asking? Yeah. I just don't know how much yet
Can
we'd
I
get from
follow
that
up on that?
source.
Okay, Board Member Belknap.
I just want to make one comment too, and the State Charter School Board might find somewhere else,
Yeah.
but they do have a closure fund for closing schools that they could take some of this fund, these funds out of.
Okay, Board Member Lear.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, what is the total, and I know it's a line item appropriation from the legislature now to the State Charter Board. So what is that total appropriation?
For their entire budget?
Right.
Oh, geez.
I mean, is it?
Yeah, I'd have to come back to you on
but,
that. I don't
mean,
have
is
that
it-
exactly in front of me.
Is it 10 million? Is it 2 million? Is it-
I want to say,
Yeah.
I won't guess. Let me,
Okay.
Deborah's probably listening right now. She'll bring me that number and I can follow up with you.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's one question. Can I ask a second
Okay,
question?
follow up.
This is more of a concern than a question, and I almost can't believe I'm saying this because I really philosophically agree with this amendment. But my concern is that if it causes the charter board to cut staff, then they'll be less able to monitor schools and help prevent this going forward. So I am really ambivalent about whether this is the best thing to do. But that's why the total amount of money and that sub-amount that makes up their school closure amount is important, I think, for me to know.
Okay.
I'll let you go. Board Member Hanson, Linda Hanson.
Scott, if it doesn't come, because we are obligated to pay these amounts,
Yes.
so if it doesn't come from their budget, where would it come from?
There's other options, as far as, other budgets within the USBE's budget. There's other unrestricted balances that could be used, but outside of the liquidation of the property, there's other processes that are ongoing right now. That's why we want to give it time. We want to give it till the end of August to see if those other processes come to fruition, so that none of the money would have to come out of the board's budget, so to speak. But outside of the board's budget, we couldn't go back to the legislature, I know that for sure, and ask for funding. There's no way we could do that. We could, but, I doubt we'd, be able to secure any funding that route. So outside of our own budget, then, we need to rely on, the application of the $107,000 that we received. We need to see how the liquidation process goes for the buses and the vans, and then also the process related to the property secured.
You good?
The estimates on the property and all that are high enough that this could get potentially covered. I really think what we're doing here is we're just demonstrating the resolve to ensure that the taxpayers are held harmless as part of this process. And yes, it's a difficult decision, but ultimately that's what in the interest of the taxpayers and, the propriety of application of funds to pay those unallowable costs back, let's give it the time. Let's give it the 30 days and see. We can always come back to you. We can always come back and amend or see, because, there's some things we don't know, how much we're going to get for the vans yet, how much we're going to get for the buses, all that. That's why we want to give ourselves the time to do this. But I think we're demonstrating our resolve. I really do.
Okay, follow up. Hold on, let me turn this back on.
Back to my question about the, where it would come out. It could potentially come out of an area in our budget that has nothing to do with charters.
Potentially, yes. I
Yes.
mean, there's options. This is what the purpose of this agenda item is, to
we
explore
would
options.
have to cut, and
Yeah.
that's not fair. Thank you.
It's just one option.
When our board's been here before, but it's in, in our lane, and this is still kind of in our lane, we had to go find money. I refer to it as digging down into the couch, finding change, and then we also let employees go. Well, we didn't rehire and went lean and mean for some time and had to regroup. Now this amount here, the way I understand this is in an effort to be accountable, not just an effort, but to be good stewards of funds and financing. The way that I'm reading this motion is that we do have a plan to cover that if.
Right.
And we don't know what if is, and that's basically what this motion is similar strategies that we had when it's been our direct problem. But right now, we are not part of the liquidation of those assets. It's the authorizer is in control of that, so we'll see how the dust lands. Okay, Board Member Davis.
I guess I just want to echo what's been said. I would like to know what percent of the charter budget
Okay.
this would involve, and depending on the answer, maybe we
Okay.
put some type of a
Yeah.
percentage
Deborah's getting it, so she's coming.
Okay.
amendment or something. I don't know.
Okay. Vice Chair Brittany Cummins.
So I move that we postpone this until we get the budget information from the charter school budget.
We should be able to get that quickly.
And I would
so.
say including what their balance is in their charter closure fund.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, we have a motion to postpone. Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, postpone. Okay,